We are joined on the phone today by musician Chris Ballew. You might remember him as the frontman for the Presidents of the United States of America, and he's also known as Caspar Babypants. Hey, Chris, how you doing today?
Good, thanks.
Excellent. Well, first of all, can you tell the listeners a bit about Caspar Babypants? You know, how would you describe that for people out there, maybe if they haven't discovered you yet?
Well, Caspar Babypants is me making music for 0 to 6-year-olds and their parents. And I definitely keep the parents in mind. Really, I call it parents' music because about 85% of my decisions that I make while I'm writing and recording and sequencing the albums is for the parents. No child has ever bought one of my albums. It's all been bought by parents. So I have to win over the parents to get at the children. But it's really just like a pretty simple, fun, innocent music. It's not instructional, really. It's just sort of like surreal and stories and visuals and very simple instrumentation. So that, the idea being that parents won't go crazy if they have to listen to the same song 50 times in the car. So, I really just try to make it to bring parents and kids together over a shared aesthetic, a shared appreciation for a common aesthetic. So I'm trying to save the world one little silly song at a time.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure you're asked this a lot, but you had a career and, success with the presidents of the United States of America. A lot of musicians would love to have that, but you kind of started from scratch here. How did you wind up going down this path, making music for kids?
Well, the presidents was fun, but it really kind of wasn't my ultimate goal. It was too loud and too crazy, and the lifestyle was nutballs, and I was away from home a lot and late nights, and I'm too much of a sensitive little flower for the rock and roll world. Really, it turns out. And so on the side, as the presidents did their whole thing, I was constantly experimenting like, okay, I know the presidents is great and fantastic, and I loved our success and I loved what we achieved, but it wasn't my goal, my ultimate destination. It was a step. And so I just kept experimenting on the side, and eventually those experiments led to very simple acoustic kind of childlike music. And then I realized, it's kids music. I'm supposed to be making kids music. And once I realized that and I found that voice, my creativity just exploded because it was really what I wanted. So I always say, like, the presidents had this innocent core, and then the outer sort of crust of Planet Presidents was sexual innuendo, and where that innuendo and that innocence kind of rubbed up against each other was the friction that made that music work. But the innuendo part was never that comfortable for me, so I took it away and I just decided to be the innocent core, and that's what Caspar Babypants was.
So can you talk a bit about what it's like performing, now for kids and families compared to those years with the presidents? I imagine from just hearing you talk, it sounds like it's much more fulfilling for you to be doing what you're doing now.
It is, and it's just a different flavor, really. I mean, the presidents, I don't want to give the wrong impression. The presidents was very fulfilling. I mean, especially breaking up and then getting back together and really doing it on our own terms. And that whole phase, that 13-year phase after we broke up for 5 years was just amazing. But, all the stuff that goes along with the rock and roll lifestyle, I just couldn't hang with. And so, playing at 10:30 in the morning in a library meeting room or at a theater, is way more my speed, and energy level wise, the shows are pretty much can be the same, in fact, the kids shows can be higher energy than the rock shows ended up being. I mean, back in the 90s, the rock shows were really high energy, but, as we slid into the 2000s and beyond, the shows got a little more subdued. The crowd was a little older. The kids shows can be, sometimes the kids shows are more chaotic than the most punk rock show I've ever been to, because they don't know any boundaries. They don't know any rules. They're 0 to 6-year-olds is who I focus on. And those people are constantly wasted. They're like not wasted, but they're so free. They're so uninhibited that they do stuff that's way more punk rock than punk rock.
Well, speaking of punk rock and, just the DIY kind of ethos, I mean, you're writing, recording, performing, you're booking the shows. I imagine you're You're carrying your own gear. I mean, you're definitely a one-man show these days.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I learned from being in a band, is that I'm not supposed to be in a band. I love to have a vision and really work hard to make that vision exactly what I intend. And sometimes that entails erasing the entire guitar part, or, no drums on this song, or whatever the song needs, I can do, and I don't have to worry about stepping on anybody's feelings. And that's great. And then, booking shows all by myself is fantastic. I don't have to confer with anybody or plan with anybody, and hauling my own gear is great because I have very little of it with the Caspar thing. So it also goes back to like when I was growing up in Seattle in the late 80s and early 90s, the DIY aesthetic was really strong, and I identified with that so much. And so the Caspar Babypants thing is, like, for me, the ultimate expression of DIY, because I'm the only one. So I put the I in DIY.
Well, I know you're playing mostly around Washington. Could we see you maybe make your way out to the Midwest? Maybe you see you in Minnesota someday?
You never know. Right now, of course, I haven't played a show in a long time because of the pandemic. So when I get back to it, it's going to be a whole different animal. I'm going to kind of play fewer shows, more theaters, less kind of outdoor chaos kind of stuff. And so hand in hand with that, I might explore a little travel. So I have a manager who's interested in, or a booking agent who's interested in collaborating with me on that stuff. I've had her kind of in the wings for like 5 years. She's just waiting for me to say yes, and then she's going to make that happen. So you never know. We'll see how I feel when I go back to it.
Awesome. Well, the amount of music you've released just in the last 10 years or so is incredible. I mean, how do you maintain that pace? It seems like, maybe at least 2 albums or more a year you've been pumping out here.
Yeah, it's been amazing because, like I said, that volcano of creativity just erupted when I found my voice. So, and what happened is I looked back over my life of fragments of songs and songs that didn't work at the time or whatever, but I still recorded, and I found hundreds of fragments that were trying to be Caspar Babypants, which is how I make so many records, because I'm kind of looking back and sampling my own failures, or what I perceived as a failure at the time. I'm kind of using them as seeds for new songs. So I'm constantly writing and recording. I have hundreds of songs in different stages of disrepair or stages of being finished. And when it's time, when I feel like, okay, I want to make a record, I just find the 20 best at that moment and put them out as a record. So I don't really sit down and say, all right, I'm making a record now. I'm just constantly recording. And then when I make an album, I just scrape the cream off the top of the whatever, the churn, the whatever cream is in.
Sure.
The bucket.
Well, I know Happy Heart was your last album. I imagine with all this downtime with the pandemic, you're probably kind of stockpiling even more songs than usual. So hopefully we'll get some new stuff here coming up soon.
Yeah, I put out 2 albums during the pandemic, Happy Heart and Bug Out, because they were ready to go. Right before the pandemic, I made 3 albums at the same time. And so 2 of them, I got restless. I was like, I can't play shows. I better, I'll just put out 2 albums. And then I have a third, which might be my final album, because I think I've kind of run out of songs. And I'm kind of waiting for the pandemic to be over before I release that one so I can celebrate with some live shows. So, and that one will be called Easy Breezy.
Well, and I saw on your website too, you've got a lot of artwork, raising money for nonprofits. So, I mean, that's awesome. Definitely, you've got a lot of things going on at once, it seems.
Yeah, I've been making this I went to art school, and I just started making art about 5 or 6 years ago again with a purpose, which I didn't have in art school. And I'm really enjoying that as kind of a break, a rest from the musical palette of being creative. And then I'm also making this new album right now, which is a new album for grown-ups. It's not Presidents. It's not Caspar. It's kind of this it's this abstract, psychedelic, groovy stuff that I'm playing around with. So I think in the next maybe 4 months from now or so, you'll see a Chris Ballew record that will open a new chapter.
Excellent. So you mentioned the final album for Caspar Babypants. Is that just going on a short hiatus, or do you think maybe this will be it for the long run? Or
I think it might be it. I mean, that'll be album number 19. So, I mean, if I haven't said all I need to say about, kids and parents and food and animals and nature in 19 records, then boy, I don't know. I really am literally like out of songs. And kind of, because I mentioned I'm making this new album, this kind of psychedelic stuff. I'm kind of moving into a different direction just in life. And it's been I started 12 years ago and I made 19 records. I kind of feel like that's a good chapter. Now I'll probably keep playing live, and if a good Caspar song comes, falling out of the sky, I might release singles or something, but I don't think I'll put out another like album after 19. So, but we'll see. I've learned, if there's anything I've learned, it's never say never.
Well, you're in a great place now, it sounds like. Of course, I got to ask, could you see maybe a reunion for the presidents at some point? Maybe not new music, but just kind of like, maybe a summer tour or something like that down the road?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would happen as the rock band. My ears are pretty shredded from years and years of that noise. And I wore earplugs and I wore in-ear monitors, and they're still shredded. So I really can't imagine stepping on stage in a scenario where I need ear protection again, because it's kind of terrifying how damaged they are. So I have had a little inkling of a vision, like of a show where it's more like we sit around a fake campfire on stage and hand out songbooks and we all sing the songs together or something, like a sort of kumbaya. Like I could imagine a stage set that's a back porch and we're sitting in chairs on the back porch with a little fire going and everybody's singing and it's acoustic and, something like that, something kind of reinventing and something where I don't need earplugs, or nobody needs earplugs.
Well, a lot of those songs I think definitely would work in kind of an unplugged sort of rendition. So yeah, that'd be awesome if something like that were to happen.
Yeah, I could see that happening. That'd be kind of fun to revisit. And we've done stuff like that before, and it's been really fun. So yeah, it's in our wheelhouse. But yeah, so you never know. You could say you heard it here first, people.
Well, Chris, we've talked a lot about a lot of stuff in the works here, but is there anything else maybe you want to mention, or something else we should look out for?
I also make ambient music for meditation or for background music while you're being creative, or a lot of writers like to use it. And it's up on my website, chrisballew.org, for free. And I'm releasing a new one every Monday because I kind of stockpiled a bunch of those and forgot to release them. And, so I do that. And, yeah, that's about it. I think that covers everything. Babypantsmusic.com gets you everything Babypants, and chrisballew.org gets you my art, my ambient music, my what I call sampledelic music, and then eventually this new album I'm working on will be up there and all over the place. So
awesome, man. I got to say, Chris, I am a huge fan of yours, and I have been for a long time, and it's been an honor speaking with you today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dustin. I appreciate your patience with my as I said, time zone illiteracy, and I'm glad we got to knock it out.
Definitely, and if anything else comes up down the road, I'd love to speak with you again sometime.
Okay, I'll add you to my promotional email list. When I have a new Caspar album out or something happens, I send an email, so I'll put you on it.
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Chris. I really appreciate it.
You bet, Dustin. Take care. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
And again, that was the one and only Chris Ballew of the Presidents of the United States of America, also Caspar Babypants. And you can go to his websites. He's got a lot of stuff coming up here. New album from Chris Ballew, new Caspar Babypants album as well. A lot of stuff, artwork. It's all up online at chrisballew.org and babypantsmusic.com.